What is going on, YouTube? Zero Lead here. I'm back again with a new video. Episode 22 of the Disco Era U.S.S. Enterprise tutorial. Just want to thank you again for tuning into today's video. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button in helping me in supporting the channel. And not a super long video today, only about 15 minutes or so. Just going to cover a few quick things on the ship engines. It's not going to take too long to do, but still nonetheless very important. We're going to be filling in the front of our ship nacelles and then adding in some red pinstripe. So right now I am on the right side of the ship, the right nacelle, and we're literally just continuing from where we stopped our gray line. And now we're going to be filling this in with red. You can see there I went down one and then back. I'm not just going down two and then over like we did here. So I'm trying to kind of give it a swish a little bit, seeing if that looks good. I think ultimately what I decide on with the red pinstripe on the outside of the engines, I think I end up making that red pinstripe 3 thick on the red. It ends up looking a lot better and looks a little bit more like a pinstripe along there. As I was noticing that as I was looking at the engine, that pinstripe was pretty thick. So that was kind of my thinking behind that. You can see I didn't go all the way down. I'm just adding it gradually. I did that on the right side of the ship engine, and now I'm on the left side of the outer engine. Just repeating that same process again in the same spot. That is another thing too, this pinstripe does not come all the way up to the front, you know. It doesn't start until, it's not at quite the middle of the engine. It's a little bit before, but definitely doesn't go the whole length. Minecraft, I know you don't want to delete stuff, but you're going to cooperate one way or another today. There we go. Alright. And moving along. We don't want to go all the way down. We're going to stop one. Just make sure that there's a divide between this black strip and our red pinstripe. Now let's do 2. Then we'll go back by 3. Having arching back, I think. Yeah, that'll look good. Nope. Alright, so let's finish cutting that out, and then we're going to fill that in with red. We're moving quite along with the tutorial series. We're already almost in the mid-20s now. If you have any questions regarding this ship tutorial, make sure to sound off in the comment section below. I'm usually very responsive in the comment section. If I don't answer your question, chances are I'm probably getting ready to answer it in a video, unless that somebody else asked the same question and I already answered that previously. That would be the only time I probably won't answer you. That, or if it's like just a mean comment or something like that. But I don't really get that on here. But, you know, I will say that pretty much 99.9% of the time I usually get really cool people that comment on here, so I definitely appreciate the love. And if you have any videos that you might want to see me do on any ship tutorials or just any builds in general on Minecraft that you think would be pretty cool, sound off in the comment section below. I mean, anything nerd related, really. You know, I don't mind nerding out on stuff. Pretty much just about anything. Um, so I mean, you never know until you ask. And that's just kind of one of the things. Like sometimes I don't really think about everything, you know, because sometimes you just forget about stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I like getting the community involved, because you guys sometimes will inspire me a lot of times to do these ship tutorials. Like uh, when I first started this video series, way, or just the channel in general, when I was doing the Enterprise, I had a bunch of people who were like, dude, you should do the Vengeance. So I ended up doing that, and then after that, I had people asking for the Kelvin. Um, and then I had some people asking for the Discovery, and then I've had people ask for the Borg Cube, and then the Enterprise A. So, I mean, you could say the majority of the builds that I've done at this point have been all off of what people have suggested. So, you know, if you have something you want to see, let me know. But anyway, moving back into what we're doing here, you can see I just, you know, filled in the last of the pinstripe on the right side, and now we're going to fill in the front of our ship engine. And literally not doing anything fancy, just filling in the last of the wireframe that we have not filled in yet. You can also see that I have an orange block. We're also going to add our orange dome. That's going to be going on the front of our engine. And I will say that I made a very, very slight alteration to it from what's in the picture. And my reasoning for that is I was looking at it. Without pulling the picture up, basically was that I think that they made the ship engine look a little bit too much like the NX-01 Enterprise engines. I like it, don't get me wrong, and I think it's a great homage, but I think that they could have, in some areas, stayed a little bit more true to the TOS Enterprise engine, and at the same time maybe learn from it a little bit. One of the things I never really cared for with the TOS was the bubble dome on the front of the ship engine. Now, I don't want you to get concerned because, as I'm sure you've seen in my thumbnails, it's obviously on my ship, but I made it slightly smaller. I think it just looks a little bit better. Off camera, I did try to make it bigger, and it didn't look right. It ended up taking up the whole front end of the engine, and you couldn't really see any other detail in it. It felt like it was just engulfing it. So that was just kind of my reasoning behind just making it a little bit smaller so we could have some of that gray detail going around it in the front, rather than it just taking up this whole front half. Alright, so we filled in the right side of our ship nacelle. We're just going to do that on the left side now. So let's bang that out. You can see we're slowly but surely filling in the last of the holes on the ship, which is getting pretty exciting. I really didn't think that I'd get this far in the well, not that I didn't get this far in the tutorial series. Just in general, before I started the tutorial, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to do this, but the response that I've got from the comments have been great, and it's really given me the confidence just, you know, to try to get into this as much as I can, and try to share as much knowledge as I can. You know, it seems like, you know, there's some people that value it, so I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm definitely going to start doing a lot more videos. I've got a bunch of ideas. There's some things I want to do I haven't mentioned yet, and the reason for that is I don't want to mention something unless I'm going to do it. So that's kind of where I'm at on stuff, you know, because I don't want to, you know, say something that could be cool, but then I end up not doing it. I want to do things a little bit differently on this go-around of doing videos. To where if I do anything, or if I say I'm going to do anything, it's, you know, 100%. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. But anyway, you can see that moving right back into this tutorial, we filled in both the right and left side of our ship nacelles on the last of the wireframing, and now we're just going to add in our orange dome in the front. And you can see I'm just going one in with the cut, and we're going to do the circle going all the way around. Getting rid of the axis because this thing is not double wide, or I should say too thick. It's not, just one thick, or at least this part of it. And when I fill the rest of this in and zoom out and look at it, you'll see what I mean. I mean, the change that I made to the engine, it's so minuscule. Like, literally, I just took out the extra cuts that were making this orange dome stick out a little bit more than it probably should. Because on the sides here, the orange comes out a little bit more and down, back in. The same thing on this side, and then the same thing on the top. And I didn't like it. And I could see as soon as I saw it, I was like, they took that from the NX01, but it just, I don't know, it didn't really fit for me. Because this is the other thing too, that they're not taking into consideration is that Star Trek Enterprise was 100 years before Kirk. So even if you're like, okay, well, this is Discovery era, let's just say for argument's sake 10 years, all right, 90 years. So you mean to tell me that if you took a Model A Ford and put it side by side with a 2020 Ford Mustang, do you really think they'd look the same? That's my logic behind that, and that's why they shouldn't look the same, because you've got nearly a 100-year gap between the two of them. That was my whole gripe with what they did with the engines for the Enterprise A from Star Trek Beyond, that basically looked almost spot on with the Franklin's engine. But that's, you know, here nor there, and that I've kind of covered that in past videos. But you know, that's just kind of my thinking. When I do make changes like that, especially with this build, I'm trying to be subtle about it because I want to stick to as close to it as possible. But at the same time, you have to factor a little bit of that in there. Because it's not like, if it was a situation where Enterprise took place like 10, 15, 20 years before, and I'd be like, okay, I could see it at that point, because, you know, you're still, that type of design is staying in service. But 100 years, I mean, that's well over a lifetime. And especially that far in the future, I'd find it hard to believe that they wouldn't be able to progress just a little bit further, you know. But let's get back into what we're working on here. You can see I added a single block in every single corner because I wanted to alter the shape of my next row a little bit, because I basically didn't want to add a square or straight square. I want to try to keep a circular shape as much as I possibly can within these 3 blocks, because I believe after this third layer coming in, we're just going to fill the rest of it in the front. Even though I'm cutting out the access, should be filling that in the middle. I don't think I'm going to go in it anymore. That doesn't look too bad. I'm just kind of trying to get a gauge on if I'm happy with the thickness of them, or if I want to do another one. So see, at this point, I don't want to go another one in, because there shouldn't be a plus sign in the front of your ship engine. So if you get at that point too, it's like, nope, let's just make it flat, because if you add in that plus, that's going to stick out, and that's something you'll never see on the front of the ship engine. So why would you have it there on the Minecraft version if you can help it, you know? And see, once you fill that in, that actually, I mean, that works. It's a very, very simple what I did. But I mean, really, the only other thing that you could really do here is just like add a gray strip going around the orange, just to make it pop a little bit more and differentiate it with the lighter gray. Um, but other than that, I mean, you really wouldn't. We don't really have to make any more changes to it. Other than that. I think that came out pretty darn good. So you can still, really at this point, looking at the ship, the only thing that we have left to do on the outside, the physical ship construction portion anyway, is obviously we have to work on the upper side of our saucer. But before we close that in, we're going to have to plot out and work on our corridors. So that's the main reason why this is all open. And then we'll have to plot out the bridge and all that, and then we have to redesign the very back lip of the shuttle bay. But other than that, I mean, we're coming along pretty good, and we're not really going to be making any more. Other than the shuttle bay, we won't be making any visual changes. We'll be adding in just the actual detailing, and then just finishing up the upper saucer. Anyway, that's going to wrap up episode 22. Can't believe we're already up to episode 22 at this point. We're moving along with this tutorial. I just want to thank you again for tuning into today's video. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. I definitely appreciate it. I figure every single subscriber, comment, and like I get definitely matters, so I appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos. And you can always catch new videos Monday through Saturday. The only time you won't be seeing me post any new videos is on Sunday. So be sure to check back tomorrow for episode 23, and I will catch everybody on the next video.